My name is Nancy Lowe, and I'm an artist that works with science and environment themes. I also lead a network of field stations and marine labs that have arts programs. The network is called Ecotones, and it was formerly founded as ArtSci Converge by Farthen Felix and Jeff Brown at Sage Hen Creek. Ecotones meets quarterly, and we welcome new members. If you have an arts program or would like to have an arts program, you're welcome to join us. Um, Recently, we published a guide for field stations and marine labs that have arts residency programs or would like to start them up. And it's about 36 pages long. It's fairly comprehensive. Recently, we added some videos to the guide that are interviews with artists and scientists that have worked with these arts residency programs at field stations and marine labs. The guide is available on the OBFS website on the member access information page. Be sure to update your membership with OBFS so that you have access to the guide. We are developing a new section for the guide that will deal with other kinds of arts programs. So this would include art classes for undergraduates and workshops for the general public, art exhibits and poetry slams and all kinds of things that are not residency programs. If you have experience with programs like that and you'd like to help edit that section of the guide, please be in touch with me. I also teach drawing as a teaching tool for undergraduate biology for lab and field. And I teach workshops for undergraduates as well as for faculty and staff professional development workshops. I can do these workshops remotely from anywhere, but I can come to your field station or marine lab if you're in the Northeast. I'm located in Massachusetts, so I can travel to you. Ecotones Network meets quarterly, and we're welcoming anybody who's interested to join. If you have an arts program or would like to have an arts program and want to join us, then just get in touch with me. Now I'm going to introduce Jenna Lilly, who's going to tell you about a new project.
My name is Jenna Lilly, as Nancy said, and I'm a former Shoals Marine Lab staff member and a current master's student in the Department of Natural Resources and the Environment at Cornell University. In addition to ecotones, we wanted to announce a new research project focused at this art science intersection. I'm working with Dr. Anna Davidson to study the outcomes of art residencies at science institutions, including field stations and marine labs. In particular, I'm interested in examining the different approaches to art residencies, the benefits and challenges of each approach, and the relationships that emerge between artists and scientists in these places. With each of these questions, it is crucial to look from both the art and science perspectives. Next year, we anticipate opportunities for field stations to engage in this research through surveys and interviews, so keep an eye out for that. On Friday, we're leading a workshop to further discuss the Ecotones Guide, as well as this research project. Everyone with an interest is welcome to join, regardless of whether or not your station has an arts program. Make sure to check out these websites and get in touch. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Oliornik, Director of Bodega Marine Reserve. We are pleased to announce the naming of our herbarium in honor of Peter G. Connors, the longtime former manager of the reserve. This dedication recognizes Peter's decades of scientific and administrative achievements. The Peter G. Connors Herbarium at Bodega Marine Reserve is an important scientific asset. The collection supports researchers who want to know what species of plants and algae are found in the area. The presence or absence of certain species helps scientists draw inferences about environmental conditions, how those conditions have shifted over time, and to understand how influences such as climate change are affecting the ecosystem. The herbarium currently holds more than 1,000 specimens of vascular plants, and of these, Peter contributed 394 specimens, helping to expand the list of known species at the reserve. The herbarium also contains over 800 marine algal specimens, 130 of those contributed by Peter. In addition to the specimens in our collection, Peter has also donated specimens to the UC Davis and UC Berkeley herbaria. While collecting, Peter came to admire the elegant way marine algae move in the waves. But he found that arranging the algae as specimens for the herbarium, which is done in a way that focuses on the physical characteristics, didn't really allow for showing the graceful aspects of algae that are so evident underwater. Eventually, he began making 2 types of specimens, one for the herbarium and one to satisfy his artistic tendencies. Quoting Peter, "Because I loved making these things, I guess I became a little more of an artist. I wanted to make something as beautiful as I could out of these wonderful algae." Eventually, Peter got so good at these artistic pressings that he began displaying them in art shows. He now offers pressings for sale, with proceeds going to benefit the reserve. These are prized pieces of art that are very special to own. Peter's legacy started back in 1971 when he arrived in Bodega Bay as a postdoctoral scholar. Over the many years since then, he has not only contributed significantly to the herbarium, he has become one of our go-to experts on the plant and algal species on the reserve. In addition to being a top-notch field collector, Peter is a scientist who has made discoveries in an impressive range of subjects. He has over 47 research publications covering topics from the 3-dimensional structure of nucleic acids, such as RNA, to how pollution affects seabirds, the problem of plastic in the oceans, invasive species management, and rare plant genetics. Peter also established that the American golden plover and the Pacific golden plover, once thought to be subspecies of golden plovers, qualify as 2 separate species. Years of collecting for the herbarium has given Peter a discerning eye that enabled him to spot a single showy Indian clover plant, a species that had been presumed extinct, on a Sonoma County hillside in 1990. His rediscovery of Trifolium aminum and careful collection of its seeds helped place the plant on the endangered species list and laid the groundwork for its conservation. In addition to Peter's scientific discoveries, he supported research and teaching at Bodega Marine Reserve as manager for 19 years. He helped obtain permits to expand the Bodega Marine Laboratory building, located within the reserve, and authored several grants that acquired funding for a nitrox scuba facility, a seawater system upgrade, the terrestrial greenhouse, and housing for graduate students, among other projects. Peter has also made significant contributions to the organization of biological field stations. He has served as an officer, board member, and chair of several standing committees, including finance and fundraising, continuing to serve for many years after his retirement. He served as auctioneer at the annual meeting for many years and did so with great gusto, always surpassing the competition with his amazing costumes. Peter continues to contribute his beautiful algal pressings to the auction, which helps raise money for OBFS. Peter is an icon in so many ways. He's a beloved member of our community, and we are so fortunate that he continues to contribute his time, knowledge, and support for Bodega Marine Reserve. We are so happy to honor Peter and his contributions by naming our herbarium the Peter G. Connors Herbarium at Bodega Marine Reserve, dedicated in honor of his contributions, service, knowledge, and style. Thank you for listening.
Hello, this is Breezy Jackson from the University of California, Merced, Yosemite and Sequoia Field Stations, here to tell you about the first Cliff Ecology Conference. Our conference was held September 23rd through 25th, 2024 in beautiful Yosemite National Park at the Yosemite Field Station. Rob Shore from Climbers for Bat Conservation, Eric Lynch from Yosemite Climbing Management, and Roger Putnam from Truckee Meadows Community College all helped to plan the meeting. Our event consisted of 1 day of field trips, 2 days of talks. 50 participants attended with representation from higher education, land management agencies, biological consulting companies, and the community. Our participants came from all over the place, including California, Washington, Montana, Colorado, New Mexico, Nevada, West Virginia, and Virginia. The Organization of Biological Field Stations mini grant helped fund this conference, as well as the Access Fund and American Alpine Club. The Redwoods in Yosemite donated their event space. Sustainable and locally sourced meals were provided through Farm to Crag and Raw Roots Farm. Patagonia and Edelred donated raffle prizes, Tioga Sequoia Brewing Company and Diane Shore donated libations, and the Western Bat Working Group allowed us to use their bank account to accept registration fees. Field stations can provide opportunities for transdisciplinary collaborations, and this conference is a perfect example. All events were within walking distance from low-cost field station lodging. Participants said that lodging together furthered their connections and allowed for additional time and space to collaborate. 2 field trips to Yosemite Valley engaged participants in cliff access methods and cliff biodiversity. And our agenda included a wonderful plenary talk presented by one of the founders of the field, Dr. Rob Roy Ramey II, as well as 23 other presentations on topics including geology and lichenology, bryophytes and plants, bats, raptor conservation, condor conservation, cliff pedagogy, field safety, data management, interpretation, sociology, climate impacts, and more. Participants also just got out and had fun climbing in Yosemite. It was a massive success, and we look forward to the second Cliff Ecology Conference, perhaps in 2026, and I'm wondering who here runs a field station near the Gunks. What people are saying, this was probably the best conference I've been to. Great way to meet fellow researchers in the field, as well as participate in climbing, social events. Bravo. This was the coolest conference I've ever attended. Speakers were wonderful and inspiring. Everyone was kind and humble, and I'm so glad I was able to attend and present. Thanks to everyone who organized this. Love the intimate feel of the conference and the overall positive vibes. Great group of people united by a real enthusiasm for cliff ecology. I think I just want to appreciate everyone who made this possible and was open with their thoughts. I had never considered the possibility of climbing for research, and I think that opens up a completely new field. As a young professional, I was happy to be exposed to such a wide variety of topics, but I was also appreciative of the chance to be in the room with great people. It made me wonder where I belong in research, and it made me think about my own next steps. This participant had a lot of great tips for anybody running a conference. They said they love the following and think they should be done again. Scholarships for people that needed it. Thanks to OBFS for providing funding for that. Lots of opportunities to chat and meet people. Housing was affordable and near the venue. The keynote speaker selection will be tough to top. Raffle was solid. Banquets and socials were incorporated into an affordable registration cost rather than expensive add-ons that separate the well-funded from the self-funded and usually splits up the attendees as they go and search for cheap food and drink. And the casual, laid-back, but well-organized atmosphere. I have said best conference I have ever attended at least 20 times this week. So thank you very much, and please come talk to me about cliff ecology.
Katie Terlizzi, and I will be sharing with you a program BlackRock Forest has been running since 2019, the David Redden Conservation Science Fund Small Grants Program. BlackRock Forest is a nearly 4,000-acre forest and nonprofit organization in Cornwall, New York. We operate as a field station serving many New York City-based and local organizations through a consortium of institutions. The mission of BlackRock Forest is to advance scientific understanding of the natural world through research, education, and conservation. In 2018, in honor of our longtime supporter and chairman of the board, David Redden, and his lifelong commitment to conservation, BlackRock Forest raised over $350,000 to create the David Redden Conservation Science Fund. The goal of this fund has been to further conservation in the region through research studies. Secondary goals are to increase awareness of BlackRock Forest as an institution, conservation issues in general, and to increase research activity at BlackRock Forest. Therefore, the fund sponsors a speaker series and a small grants program for conservation science, which has been running since 2019. The David Redden Small Grants Program awards 4 to 5 grants of up to $6,000 annually. We share the opportunity with our consortium members and on public forums such as Ecolog and social media platforms. The program is open to anyone from high school students to tenured faculty as long as the project has a clear conservation application and is completed at least in part within BlackRock Forest. Overall, the program has been a success. It has increased research activity as planned and has been a great resource to facilitate student researchers. In addition, it has also helped our research staff increase our own understanding of the forest through the work of others. To date, we have awarded over $160,000 to 23 different conservation science projects. Through these projects, we have facilitated the training of 4 high school students, 15 undergraduates, and 16 graduate students. Some of the projects we have funded include research on the epigenetic and physiological variability in a spruce forest community by Dr. Rachel Cox and her students at Riverdale Country Day School, an independent high school in the Bronx. Craig Frank of the Louis Calder Center at Fordham University studied the relationship between pond habitats, foraging, and the resistance of white nose syndrome in bats. His work has also helped us identify possible locations of 2 federally endangered bat species. Isabel Mifsud, a master's student at Columbia University, used funds to quantify rates of nitrogen fixation in xylophagus beetle larvae. Isabel's work was recently published in the Journal of Environmental Entomology. And Anna Sikorski, another master's student at Columbia University, was awarded a grant and assessed spatio-temporal patterns of mesocarnivores along an urban to rural gradient. Her work was recently published in the Journal of Wildlife Management. We are constantly seeking ways to improve and expand the program, and I wanted to share a few of the challenges we have faced in hopes that others here could offer suggestions or share their experiences. We have always had a very small number of applications, despite advertising in a variety of places. Additionally, we've continually had a very narrow geographic range. We have also noticed that in ecology, there has been a shift away from locally based natural history questions and a larger focus on remotely sensed big data questions. These larger scale projects often don't require visits to the field, and we sometimes miss out on participation in these projects. We have also run into challenges with dispersing the funds themselves. Large institutions give pushback to awardees when no overhead is awarded and can make the disbursement of funds difficult. We are learning to work with these institutions to streamline the process on both our end and for the awardee. Also, although we require a written agreement between awardees and Black Forest, sometimes it is difficult to obtain final reports outlining results, how funds were spent, and the data collected from the project. We would love to discuss these challenges and potential solutions with anyone in the OBFS community who runs or has an interest in running a similar program to our small grants program.